Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the TSRC Sports Car Challenge here for the fourth round of the sixth round championship. Where today we head to the Nürburgring Grand Prix, a track that has hosted F1 many times, I think over 30 times, but actually in the last 10 years has only hosted it once. So it's a track on the F1 side you don't go to very often, but when it comes to GT3s, GT4s, and the LMP cars, there's a lot of races here throughout the year. So it's a track that these GT4 and LMP3 drivers definitely aren't going to be very new to, but I think it's a great track in this championship. It's one of the ones I know the most. I've raced there myself, Biggles, and I think it's a really challenging track. It's got its difficulties. Drivers do tend to struggle, but I think in terms of racing, it's always great because you can keep side by side pretty much through the whole circuit.
Yes, you can. One of those absolutely classic, fantastic racing tracks, as you can see on the track map as well, too. Not a lot of straightaways, but a lot of turns and a lot of overtaken opportunities. They've had their drivers briefing and for their practice session, so they've all been briefed on specifically what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how to race ethically and morally and all that sort of jazz. And now we're going to get ready for some qualifying session. A smaller grid here today than Nathan, but that's because, we're building into busier months of the year.
Yes,
so it's an opportunity for some drivers out there to score some big points.
Definitely, and we're just going to have a bit of a talk through the standings. So in the LMP3 category, we've had three winners in the past three races, being Bashil Stra, Gurgly Kunchabo and Nick Clibbons, and the points in the standings. Gurgly Kunchabo leads them on 73 points. 4 points ahead of Nick Clibbons on 69. Then Maurice Pitchler, who's got two podiums this season, one of only two drivers to do that. He's in third on 67. Then we've got Patrick Den on 63, Thomas Martin on 60, then Bas Schulster, our first round winner, on 40 points. Then it goes all the way down to P13, where a couple of drivers who haven't taken part this season. And then for the GT4s, yet again, three different winners in the last three rounds: Jack Satterfield, Tom Davidson and Nils Kaur. And in those standings, Nils Kaur's leading the championship on 77 points, 2 points ahead of Jack Satterfield on 75. They're 3 points ahead of Tom Davidson on 72. Then we have Kieran Sharp on 68, Ryan Walker on 62, Gunnar Hamling on 56, and in the top 7 we've got Liam Giles on 52. So, yet again, Biggles, there's something we knew that would come, would come here in this championship. The standings are so close, and anyone at this point could walk away with the championship.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and that's what gives drivers a perfect opportunity. So you get the track map lined up a little bit better there, so it's not so over top of our fantastic race sponsors. There it is, a little bit better. We're going to go aboard. We are on board with one of the drivers currently at the moment, which is Mr. Southfield. So would you like to take us on a hot lap around? I was going to say Nordschleife, but it's Nuremberg, of course. We don't go all the way around the old Formula One track, of course, where Niki Lauda almost lost his life. But here we go, about to start a lap.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, this is a track last week I was racing in the on ACC in the McLaren GT Evo. A beautiful track, but it can be very harsh on the tyres. So, on board with Jack Satterfield, now just heading down in towards the first corner, brake around that 100-metre board in these GT4 cars. Step on the brakes so you can turn the car. We're trying to go too deep, a little bit deep there from Satterfield, but he can get it nicely corrected on the X as he heads through now in towards the Mercedes Arena at turns 2, 3 and 4. Just keep it to the left, run wide on the exit because the track limits are a little bit more lenient around this circuit than others, and you chuck it down in towards the bit of a hairpin at turn 3, back on the power coming round at turn 4 to the right. Use all that curb on the right hand side, run wide on the exit as you prepare yourself now for these next couple of corners at turns 5 and turn 6. Yet again, another very difficult section, very easy to lose a rear on entry here. And as you can see there, Satterfield doing a great job so far. Down in towards this little bit of a hairpin at turn 6, run wide yet again. Use all the power now as you head down in towards the long, very hard hairpin at turn 7. Get late on the brakes as late as you can. Try not to go too deep and end up in that gravel. Very nice there from Satterfield through that corner. Then you get back on the power nice and early as you can as you come through in towards the Michael Schumacher S's. Turns 8 and 9. and it seems that he must be on a bit of a warm-up lap as he's swerving the car as he comes up towards there, or just trying to build a bit of heat into the tyres on his hot lap, which is something that we hope he's not doing. Otherwise, obviously, it's shown that he's got an issue with the tyres heated up. So now, down in towards turns 10, then he'll come back the power through towards turns 11 at his right-hander. Be very careful, it's very easy to lose a rear yet again, especially on the exit. You can run wide very easily and get yourself into that gravel, which is the last thing that you want around this circuit. Then you head through, back foot down to the floor, as you head all the way up in towards this last chicane at the NGK chicane. Turns 13 to 14, just want to throw the car in, chuck as much speed you can into there, try not to invalidate and just throw the car in. On your last laps, you'll see drivers normally end up messing up there because you just want to, just throw the car in at the high speed you can and just try and get that lap time secured. Then you quit the final corner up towards the line, as it is quite a long run to the line here, and we'll see what it is from Southfield as he heads up to the line. I believe it was 1 minute. We'll see it come up at 1 minute. 2:02.7, sorry.
There you have it. That's the GT3, the Aston Martin. GT4, sorry, my apologies. We do have a few, well, of course, of our hypercars, well, the LMP3s at the moment, and Kunshabo is, yes, on top of the timesheets with 152. Still yet to see some of the other drivers at the moment who are out on track. There's Nick Clemens.
Yeah, Nick has...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, took pole position twice this season, back in round 1 and then in round 3. In round 1, it ended terribly for him, but in round 3, he did come home with a victory. So tonight, if he can try and replicate that pole position, he could always try and replicate that victory from last round. He's just heading up now in towards the chicane, and we'll see what time he manages in the LMP3 car. Currently, at the top of the times for that category is Gurgly Kunshabo on a 1 minute 52.0. A big slide then, you can see he threw the car in, like we said before with the GT4s, and this time he ended up losing the rear. These cars, we know, are horrible on the rear, so it is very common that something like that can happen when you throw everything at it. But he'll come through into the final corners, probably will set a lap, but it is going to be invalidated because he did go quite wide off circuit, and yet again hitting the gravel at the final corner, so that is quite shameful there indeed for Nick Clibbens. And we're going to see if there's any more cars out on track. This is car number 15, so this is Nils Korp, who obviously also took victory last time out in the GT4 category after a great fight with the likes of Southfield, Davidson and Sharp, and he's coming through into the final couple of corners. Yellow first sets, but he's got 2 purple sets in the 3rd and 4th, and he should be looking to go purple in the 5th set up to the line. What will it be for Nils Korp? It was improved, and it is a 2/10 gap to Tom Davidson with a 2:01.9. Our first drive was into the 2:01s. We got Thomas Martin. He headed up towards the line, was 2 seconds back with a 1:54 off of Kun Shabo. Bobby Moss there just popping himself into the top 7. About 2 seconds back as Andrew Pike goes into the top 4, displacing Southfield, who has been a very strong contender currently, only in P5, so he needs to find some improvements on his lap. Kieran Sharp is also headed up to the line as well. We'll see if he can find improvements in his Porsche. At the moment, the only one in the Porsches. I think, no, he is the only Porsche, sorry. In this race tonight, we've got a couple of Mercedes, a couple of Aston Martins, but 1 Porsche, which is at the hands of Kieran Sharp. And we've still got a few more in the LMP3 categories on the lap. We've got Gurgly Kunshabo gone purple in the 2nd and 3rd sector. He's who we're on board with now. He's just heading down in towards turns 12, 13 and 14 shortly. So we'll see if he can find an improvement. David Long up into the top 7 there, 1.7 seconds back from Nils Korp's lap time. Ryan Walker pops himself into the top 5 now for the for the GT4s, and Kunshabisi going green in that next set to 4. Nick Clemens as well. Green, purple. So he's also on a very good lap time. So it seems that the battle for pole is between Clemens and Kunshabo. Up to the line for Kunshabo. Is it an improvement? I believe it might be. We've also got Clemens to line as well. We'll see what he can set.
Clemens gets him
fastest.
Wow.
By a second.
So let's see about Nils Korp. Yeah, I was going to say, you can actually see too how difficult it is to spot some of those apexes too once we go back on board one of the LMP3s from the cockpit perspective, which is exactly what the driver sees. So of course, these camera angles that we've shown, some of them aren't what the driver sees. We'll see about Nils first as he makes his way around the final corner. You got to hug up that apron, as Maury Walker used to say. Well, hug the apron like your favourite grandma. That's right, as the Formula 1 commentator Martin Brundle would say. Nils Korp still holds the current quickest time for the GT3s and GT4s. Is that right? At some point,
improved.
Yes. Who else is on really flying there on laps.
Yep.
Gonzalo going quicker again. This is currently Pitcher. Oh,
Yeah,
that's snap, and that's going to go around. So, well, Gonzalo, let's have a look again. Right on cockpit view. Now, have a look. Not a problem over here because you're on a right-hand drive. Spotting your left-hand turns are no problems, but spotting your right. See right there how much view you actually have, the vision that he has, literally. So it's trying to spot the corner, especially the very last corner. That's a difficult one because you want to get up into the pit lane entrance there, and there's a tight wall, and just, you know, try to get it to mastermind as much as possible from that. Some drivers might even be using VR or not. Let us know out there if you do already. This is the corner here, of course. You want to start spotting it there, and look at that. You're going to get tight up against the wall. They get on the maximum power. They're on the gasoline. Throttle it up, cross the line. I think he'll improve a little bit.
Should do, he does. 2/10 back from Clibbins, so still Clibbins on pole by 2/10 of a second. And Kieran Sharp's also made improvements. He's just 3/10 back now off Nils Core, popping himself into second place. And Stilton is caught on that provisional pole with a 2:01.784. I believe that is it for the top three in the GT4 category. And still, only 3 drivers in the LMP3 with a lap time. Josh Millington and Maurice Pitchler still yet to set a time in their category. And that is it.
They didn't get any time to set a time, so...
Well, that was... Yeah, not ideal for many drivers, but we can see now the results for qualifying on the LMP3 category. Nick Clibbins for his 3rd pole position this season ahead of Gergely Kunsebo for his 4th time in the top 2 this season. Thomas Martin starting in 3rd ahead of Josh Millington and Maurice Pitchler in P5. Then for the GT4 category, Nils Core with his 2nd pole position of the season ahead of Kieran Sharp in 2nd. His best qualifying performance this season for his GT4 category. Then we got Ryan Walker, Tom Davidson, Andrew Pike and Jack Sedfield in the top 6. And then we'll see for 7th place is Bobby Moss, 8th David Long and 9th for Matt Smith.
And just seeing if there's anybody else that's available yet at the moment. There we do. We do have a few more drivers there. Sorry, my apologies. I was trying to spot the button. There it is. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, they really met us. I noticed them on the low timing.
Yeah. Oh, just for everybody else who's watching. Thank you much for tuning in at the moment there. Give us a shout out. Good evening, Ashroom, DQ Dave, Boyg Racing, and is that Mamma Mia? Mamma Mia? Yeah, come on, Bobby. So there's a few people shouting out. That's Bobby right now is in the 12th place and 7th in class. As we're about to get ready to go racing for our 4th round.
I know this season's gone very quick. It's fun to think that we're in kind of like the end of the 2nd third of the season, going on to the final third, 4 out of 6. And yeah, it's been a great season. I think obviously we noticed the attendance dropping a little bit as the season's gone on, but still the title contenders always there and always looking for their fights. And I think one of the biggest surprises coming out of qualifying there, Biggles, was Jack Seyfield. Remember, taking podiums, wins this season, currently sitting down in P6. So he's got quite a bit of work to do. If you remember last week with Tom Davidson, he was in a similar situation. Started in, well, he did start in 3rd, but he did drop down to around P6, P7 at the start of the race. And he had to fight all the way back up to the top. And the thing that got him back in the fight for the victory was that pit stop. So maybe we can see again people playing around with the pit stops, pitting a little bit later and trying to make that overcut work. We know last week in where was we, Watkins Glen, they did work for many drivers, so that could be something they're going to keep in mind again this week. But something I'll be keeping an eye on throughout the whole race is that chicane where they are now. I think we expect to see a lot of LMP3 drivers make a mistake, whether that's spinning, going wide, cutting the corner a bit early. It's a difficult corner. It's very difficult, especially in those cars, because they've got a very light rear end, so it's very easy to spin them around, especially in such a high-speed chicane. But obviously, they'll get ready for their formation lap, and you can see the safety car leading them round now. And still, we've kept with the Mustang the whole time. And something I like to wonder, Biggles, is that the safety car for every single category, or is it just that's been selected for this one?
It's just for this one. If you really want to see a safety car, of course, we have to actually go back and have a look at our safety car back here. Who is that again? Where is it? I'll try to find him. Who is our driver that's our safety car livery?
I think they're not here. Was it Andrew
Pike
last week?
They're at the back. Smith, isn't it?
Oh, Matt Smith. Yeah, Matt Smith.
Yes, there he is. Matt Smith's the actual safety car driver, but he's at the back at the moment for the GT4s. Anyway, we go back up because they're going to continue around. There's the other safety car, across the iRacing safety car. So you have 5 in the field for the GT LMP3s, and then the GT4s, we have 9 in class here this evening.
Oh. So you just, I think it was Thomas Martin there, just pop in out of view for a second. But yeah, it's Nick Clemens and Gergely Kunstschabo in the top 2. Yeah, that's a story we've kind of seen the whole season, apart from when we had Josh Millington and Ethan Owering at the top 2 in Fuji. But these two, they've been at the top of their game the whole time. You know, bar a few mistakes, they're generally on the pace. And Clibbons, you know, we saw in round 1, he stretched that gap to 18 seconds before his spin. I think in last week as well, he also stretched that gap to around 10 seconds to Gergely Kunstschabo. He's a very quick driver in the race pace. But one thing you've got to be careful is this track, I would say, is probably the most difficult we've had yet. Because there's lots of tricky braking zones for these LMP3 cars. There's lots of tricky traction zones and lots of tricky high-speed corners. I think this is probably their biggest challenge, and I think we'll expect to see more mistakes than we have from many of them this whole season. But the GT4s, I'd say this is pretty much a perfect track. I've drove this track in the GT4s and the GT3s. And with the right setup, the car feels really planted. You can throw it into corners. You don't need to worry too much about the curbs. So for those guys, I think they're going to probably have a bit more of a smoother ride. I'll probably jinx that now. But generally, I expect the GT4s to enjoy this track a lot more than the LMP3s. But then again, I wouldn't go to this track and say this is designed for LMP3s at all. I think it's probably the opposite. Would you agree, Biggles?
Well, I mean, we spoke to Kevin, didn't we? Mr. Sharp. Yeah, just popped in there just to make sure everything, because he's the boss man, puts everything on in this league. And he was saying this is definitely a GT4 track, so expect to see that, like, a really close performance between them, as you said. We'll see how it pans out for those LMP3s, because we did see a lot of those LMP3s making a lot of mistakes during the practice session before off-air, but during the qualifying session making some mistakes. So, yeah, probably we'll see similar situations in the race. Should get underway very, very soon.
We will, yeah. We're going to try and get on board with the LMP3. So it is Nick Clibbons ahead of Gergely Kunstschabo again, and then we've got Thomas Martin, Josh Millington, and Maurice Pichler in the top 5. Only 5 drivers here today. Bash Ilstra, unfortunately, not making the last 2 rounds, so his championship fight is pretty much more or less over. So big shame not to see him fighting in this championship. But we'll stay on board with an, as you can see, the safety car starting to peel away a little shortly after the chicane, heading towards that pit lane. Then we can get the cars heading down towards turn 1, also known as the Yokohama S. Very difficult turn 1, and one of the worst. It's a little bit like Monza downhill. It's a horrible first corner to send, you know, in this category, 5 LMP3s and also 9 GT4s. So we'll go on board now. We'll see the red lights pop on the screen shortly, then they'll go green, then we'll head off down towards that first corner. So it is Nick Clibbons on pole ahead of Kunstschabo. The lights will go out very, very shortly for the 4th round of the TSRC Sports Car Challenge. They're getting ready to wrap, ready to go down towards that first corner. Very long hole, but it is underway, and you can see great start from the top 2. You can also see, I think that's Josh Millington looking to move up the inside at turn 1 as well. Nearly making contact there with Clibbons. That's Gergely Kunstschabo going very wide there. Making contact with Thomas Martin. He's down to P4. Got to try and fight up the inside at the Mercedes Arena at turn 2, but can't do so. So a very poor start from Gergely Kunstschabo down in onto the rear of the field. So it's Clibbons ahead, and this is all the action at turn 1 for the GT4s. Nils Cole leading away from Kieran Sharp, then Jack Satterfield making 3 positions down towards that first corner. Ryan Walker losing 2, Andrew Pike also losing a position as they headed down towards turn 1. Now all filing down towards turn 3. No one making a move into that. No one either making a move in towards turn 4. But a great start there from Pitchell in the LMP3s, and also a great start from Jack Satterfield in the GT4s.
Yep, it's absolutely fantastic racing as we're going to have a look at the moment. So Clement's got a great launch off there, as we did see. Kunstschabo did not, as he's dropped a couple of places. But look at this for the German driver here, Maurice. Right up there. He's got a lot of pressure from behind at the moment there on Millington, but he still currently has gained 3 positions in this one. And that's just giving Nick, isn't it, so much more breathing space already early in this race.
Yeah, the likes of Josh and Kunstschabo are the ones I think we normally would see to be on the back of Clibbons, and that gap already 1.7 seconds. Millington looking for a move up the inside down at turn 11, and that is not a move we see very often. He's going to stick it to the inside as they head through turn 12. Then it'll be the outside line for the chicane at turns 13 and 14. This could get a bit scrappy between the two. Millington breaks a lot later, a bit of contact nearly as they head through, but great move there from Josh Millington into the top 2, and he's now got a 2.2 second gap to lead, but he makes a bit of a lock up out of the final corner. That could give Pitcher a great run down towards turn 1 to retake that P2 position, but I think that is a bit long and gone for him. But you can see Kunshabo, he's gaining in, but and we'll see, do we get a move? We do get a move from Pitchler, has to back out, moves to the inside, does Josh Millington, and you can see there Pitchler following in, hit him in. And now, Gurgly Kunshabo, he'll be looking to hunt down the German very shortly to make himself a move to pop himself into that top 3. But that gap at the top, 0.3 of a second. Now we've got Niels Kaur looking to take the lead from Kieran Sharp down towards turn number 1 with Jack Seyfield closing a lot as well in that other Aston Martin. Do we see many moves down towards that first corner? Yes, we do. Niels Kaur will take the lead of the race for the GT4 category, but Kieran Sharp will try and hold it round the outside, gives him the inside, nearly 3 wide as they head in towards turn 2, and now Jack Seyfield round the outside of Kieran Sharp. Can he make that move work? They will still go side by side down in towards turn 3. It's the outside line there for Seyfield, but he gets blocked off a little bit there by the Aston Martin of Niels Kaur. Goes back up the inside at turn 4 to try and retake that P2, and he does get that P2, but still Kieran Sharp will run it down towards turn 5. Can he keep it as they head through? Will it be a late lunge to the inside? It will be a lunge to the inside, but I think he has to back out there yet. He knows that move wasn't on. Great battle in there between the top 3 on the second lap of this race, because I think we're in for a mighty Grand Prix.
Fantastic racing, absolutely brilliant racing, as Pitchler's now gone all the way back as well. So something's happened there. We'll go back and have a look at the replay, because that will allow Martin up there. So Clipman's still in the lead, commanding lead, but we feel that this is where it's all really happening here at the moment. Because you have Niels Kaur is leading this pack there for the Satellite Racing team, and he has started where he has, but more about Southfield, isn't it? What a gain. You said the qualifying performance wasn't quite there for the British driver, but he's making it up in race pace in P2.
Indeed, 6th to 2nd in the first 2 or 3 laps. I think he's definitely going to be a contender for the lead. I think he's definitely going to be fearing Niels Kaur, and this is a bit of a replay. This is with Ryan Walker down towards turn 3, running a bit wide on entry as he heads through, and I don't know if we'll see much here from him. Heading through turn 3, in towards turn 4. The right-hander goes a little bit wide, I think, there. But hasn't really opened anything up. I don't think it has. So we didn't really see much from that there. As we head back through to replay of Matt Smith in the safety car, and that is the last thing we're going to see. Safety car spinning, and that is going to give a bit of damage on the rear of the vehicle. So that has pretty much ruined his race, I think, for now. And
this is Maurice.
On my screen, this is Pitchler into turn 1. What's he done here?
No, he's just made a mistake at the back here. Something happened a little bit earlier without trying to get information about.
Yeah, broke a little bit too late as he headed in towards turn 1. But on my screen it says Tom Davidson is at the back of the field. Now I wonder if that's true. And he is.
Yeah, he is.
Tom Davidson's a minute back. Has he been into the pit lane, I wonder? Because he's dropped quite far back as the lead. Is Jack Seyfield now ahead of Niels Kaur. Down in towards turn 2, it seems he got that move done. Kieran Sharp hung it in just behind the back of the Aston Martin. So it's 2 Aston Martins ahead of a Porsche, ahead of an Aston Martin. So it seems to be a very heavily Aston Martin track. This is where it happened here. This is a replay in towards turn 1. You can see Niels Kaur at the inside. Seyfield at the outside as they head in towards turn 1. You can see that great launch on the exit at turn 1. Then that gives Seyfield the inside at turn 2. Forces Niels Kaur to go a little bit wide, keeps it in at turn 3. Bit of contact, sending Niels a little bit wide. Now we'll see if that goes to the stewards, but I think that should be all fair racing. Pitchler's in the pit, so started P2 and now in the pit lane after 5 minutes. So that is pretty much his race also over, as his pace didn't really
somewhere. Sorry, cut you off there. He's lost his big time.
Ooh, yes, completely and into the barriers. And that is the last thing that you want to see. And that is the last thing that Pitcher would have wanted. But heading through with the GT4s yet again, Seyfield leading ahead of Niels Kaur and Kieran Sharp in the top 3. And then with the LMP3s, nothing really has happened at the top. It's still Clemens ahead of Millington by 3 seconds, and 2 seconds back is Kunshabo, and then Martin 6 seconds back from that. Then we can see Niels Kaur with a great run up in towards the chicane. Surely won't be silly enough to send a move there. There'd be no points sending a move into the chicane, because it just gives Kieran Sharp an opportunity to try and make a launch up and get himself into that second or first spot. But you can see in P4, Ryan Walker started to hold up the field a little bit there. He needs to try and gain himself back into, you'd want to say, about 6 or 7 tenths, so we can start to gain a bit of a slipstream down towards that first corner. And of course you can see he's got a decent slipstream heading in towards turn 1. Obviously, I don't think he'll be close enough to make a move. You can see there that Seyfield just weaving around a little bit just to tell him kind of not to pass. There's no point making a pass, because that could lose him a lot of valuable time. And Kieran Sharp, that you could see getting very late on the brakes, looking for a launch on Niels Kaur, but just not quite close enough as they head in towards that first corner. And I think realistically, the most battles we'll see are probably not in. There won't be. I think the overtakes won't be into turn 1. I think the overtakes will be into turn 2. I think turn 1 will be creating those opportunities in this race.
Hey, no wonder they're going to work together as teammates here to keep Mr. Core as at bay there, help work it out. Just going to see for a quick replay at the second to see. This is Kinshabo, and that's off the side there is Maurice. So goes around the outside, and when Maurice Winnow falls a lot back further than that, and we saw the big accident that he had into the fence later on, so must be something else that occurs later on. So that is that's happened, and that's still panning out the same situation, but yeah, still, it's all heated up here for the GT4s, which is what we were told. We expected they're going to be pretty much bunched up on track, and they are. And they're going to go for it too for now, hopefully for the remaining 32 minutes as well too. But once again, you said this before, Nathan, pit stops are probably going to play a big key factor here.
Yeah, I think they definitely will, especially with how close the field is in this race, especially in the GT4s. And another thing to note is about Tom Davidson being down in P9. He's in the championship fight. He's currently P3, 5 points back from Niels Core in the lead. So that has pretty much eliminated any chance, I think, of him fighting the championship. Because remember, the person who first gets 40 points, the person who ninth gets 20. So half points of what Southfield is going to get at the moment will be awarded to Tom Davidson. So he's, under a lot of pressure. He's already served his dropped result this season, I believe. So that also means he can't use that to give him any advantage. So Tom Davidson Championship, I think, unless he can somehow find a minute, is probably going to be over. But you can see Nils Court still trying to fight back on Southfield down towards turn 1. He's a little bit too far back. He's not going to make a move. I don't think he'd even send a lunge. There'd be no point. You see there, just into the braking zone. It seems that the Porsche for Kieran Sharp is a lot better in the braking zones. It's just he hasn't got as much straight line speed, I don't think, down that straight in towards turn 1. And Pitchler still in the pit, so I think he might be out of this race.
Yeah, just have a look if he's still in the car, and it appears he might be. His hand's on the steering wheel. He's in there. He's getting some repairs done.
Yeah.
See.
And
been in there for about 4 minutes now. It's just an eternity when you're in a racing car, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You're still way early in this race, so I'd still get in there because there's crucial points you're going to be getting. Even if he does get back out there and finish in P5, it's points. It's points.
Yeah, it's a quarter of the way through, just heading towards that 10-minute mark of 40. Remember, the pit stops will see around 25 to 30 minutes in, so for a lot of drivers, it is a bit of a dash at the end. Some pit as early as 20 minutes and go for two more conservative stints. You don't want to push too much. You just want to take the car to the stint, then pit. But with the drivers that are going to pit on the last 10 laps, they'll pit around 30ish minutes or 25 minutes. They can go for a proper sprint, less fuel, foot to the floor the whole time, and just try and make some moves. And we've seen people do that in the first couple of times. We saw it happen, I believe, at Fuji as well, with a couple of drivers going a little bit later and then making that really pay off at the end, as they was able to push the car a lot more than those who pitted earlier on, because they did start to run out of fuel towards the end of that race. But we can see, yet again, the same scenario for the past 10 minutes. A car ahead of another car, 3/10 back in towards the chicane. It's something we're going to see, I think, the whole race, because there's 40 minutes to go. If it was a 10-minute sprint race, you'd see drivers making moves at every opportunity. But in this race, there's no point. Unless the move is realistically really on and you're a 10th back heading out of the final corner, there's no point taking that risk. Because if you go side by side into turn 1 and you both fight for the lead, that can allow Kieran Sharp to close in and make a move. It can also allow Ryan Walker to gain in. The last thing you want is another trainer car sitting right behind, because it then eliminates you from making any mistakes, because as soon as you make one mistake, you could have 3, 4, 5 cars right up your rear. But now, just say Southfield or something goes a little bit wide, they've still got a 2-second buffer to Ryan Walker, so they haven't got to worry as much. So they're going to play it very conservatively in this race, and I think that's something that these drivers have kind of learnt over the past 3 rounds. You could see in the first round there was some silly mistakes being made, some silly moves, but as it's gone through rounds 2 and 3, we saw the drivers making moves at more opportunistic times. They're not sending stupid 5-10 dive bombs. They were sending moves when the move was on. So I think they've kind of learnt now how they need to race in this championship. It's a lot different to many other championships. It's a lot different to an endurance race. It's a lot different to a sprint race. You're kind of in that. You're in that mix, aren't you, Biggles, between endurance and sprint?
Yep, you are, exactly, because it's a 40-minute race, so it's definitely very, very on the aspect of it's not a sprint race at this point anymore, and it's not quite a full endurance race, but you are in between that. We do have Maurice that's out there in the chat. He's giving some information. Well, his brake pedal fell off. That would probably explain the reason why you went 100 million miles into the fence, and we feel for you, my friend. That's technical issues. that do occur in the virtual world as well in the real world? I mean, lucky you didn't run into any potholes, or is that too soon?
Well, I was going to say, what happened at turn 1, it did look like, he kind of stopped braking, but I didn't want to mention it because it would look a bit shoot if it wasn't the case. But yeah, now he mentions it, definitely you could see to turn 1, the brakes kind of just happened a lot later than they should, and I've seen towards turn 5 it just went horribly wrong. Nothing he could do, I think, to save the car at that point. But the fact his brake pedal fell off is now we've got to move for the lead in towards the final corner. Nils Cole retaking the lead on the 12th minute of the race, or about lap 6 in. And now we can see Nils Cole going to try and fight it back down towards that first corner. It'll be the outside line probably here for the Aston Martin, because he's closing in 1/10 of the gap as they head into the braking zone. But actually, is he going to sit behind? No, he's going to go for a move round the outside. Goes Jack Southfield to try and retake the lead, and he does retake the lead. But actually, he just get a good exit at turn 1. He gets a worse exit than Nils Cole. Kieran Sharp, you could see, I think he was hanging back. He was hoping he could try and make a move through, but he couldn't get anything to work as he was still a little bit far behind, and they both left each other enough space and no contact or anything. It was just, you could see Southfield went for that re-overtaking to turn 1. He got a good run in towards turn 1 actually, but on the exit of turn 1, down towards turn 2,
have a look.
Was a way better exit.
Exactly. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah, it must have been a poor exit, I think, from Nils Cole heading out to the chicane. And then he got a great run down towards turn 1. Southfield, sorry.
Yeah, he really got caught napping on that one, and at this point just managed to hold off and still currently in the lead of this race. Great battling, of course. They've now dropped Mr. Walker, who Southfield, sorry, Mr. Cole needs as his teammate there. Yep. If anything, needs him to catch up. If anything, slow the pack down if you could try to bring him into play. I'm not quite sure you really want to be doing that too much of that gap of 2.4 seconds, which is the gap currently that Millington has to Clemens. Clemens been putting in some fastest laps, but at the same time, you'd say that Millington is not really dropping off that much. He's still kind of matching them, so he's keeping it in play. He knows there's 25 minutes to go. He knows there's pit stops. We've seen mistakes in the pit stops before. So, Maurice, if you do want to see that replay again, while we have a quick minute, we can. So you get to watch what happened to yourself on there. I think it was the next one, actually, more than anything. We'll see. Maybe he thought, let's take, no, this is the first little mistake. That's just a little lock-up. I'm not sure if that was relevant to the brake pedal starting to fail at this point. As he said, I'm not sure the Gorilla Glue's going to hold off on that one. Or perhaps the German here on his local circuit. Did you take that roller coaster ride that's next to the track? Apparently you're going to be taking it second. No, this is another one. So I wonder if that's his brake pedal causing issues there. But this is when he goes basically on this roller coaster ride, I believe, into... No, this wasn't it. This was another one. Real quick, we have a couple of replays over here, Maurice, if you're watching it. This is the one where he takes the roller coaster ride. And bingo, straight into the fence at that point. That was definitely down to a brake failure, no doubt. I mean, because we know his level of skill is quite good, considering his qualifying pace here too was fantastic right up there.
He's also, I think, he's one of only 2 drivers, along with, let's have a quick look, along with Gurgley Kunshaba, to take 2 podiums. He had a podium in round 1, a podium in round 3. Kunshaba got a podium in round 2 and round 3. Then everyone else only had 1 podium each. So yeah, very great job so far from Pitchler this season. But round 4 is pretty much done for him. I think he's going to be out of the race because he's 3 laps back, and he had an issue with his brake pedal falling off. So hopefully, Maurice, if you saw this in the chat, you can get that fixed ASAP, because that is the last thing a driver wants: equipment braking. I think it's one of the things that a driver fears the most as well, because you can never know what's going to happen. You can be fine going to the race, and all of a sudden, the brake pedals fell off, or it's not working. And this is Thomas Martin on a replay down at turn 2, just spinning the rim. Like we said, it's already happened. Drivers are really likely to make mistakes around this circuit. It's a very challenging circuit for these LMP3s. The GT4s, they've been quite smooth sailing. Apart from Matt Smith making his mistake, they've just been smoothing along, riding along smoothly.
Yeah, they're a lot more built. The car's a lot more built for this track, and they have a lot more flexibility than obviously we just seen from the LMP3. So that means that nobody is safe at this point in the LMPC. Even if Clemens is up there, and Millington's starting to chip a little bit away now too, because I guess that's the traffic coming into play. That's always throws a spanner in the mix.
Yeah, Clemens has lost what, a second, 1.2 seconds in that traffic. Millington, if he can do this properly, he's not going to lose any time. Down towards turn 1 he goes. He's going to pass Nils Cole very shortly. through the inside line. Perfect. Absolutely perfect there from Josh Millington. He's now within 1.5 seconds of Nick Clibbons. As you can see, Clibbons actually into the braking zone at turn 1, just a little bit ahead.
And Clibbons got
he's
traffic
got a few
too.
more. Yeah, this could be it for Clibbons. This could definitely ruin his chance of keeping that long lead ahead of Millington in towards turn 3, being held up completely now. Yeah. So Millington's hope is to probably get them down in towards turn 10, but I think he'll catch them up by then.
Got to get them now, exactly.
We'll
get just a little short straightaway.
Right into turn 5.
No, he's had to lift. Look, he's had to lift off.
Again.
And look at that. Look where Millington is now. Now, Millington's going to try to sneak up the inside. That's very dangerous, Millington. You know, you can actually gain a lot of time here, but that's a lot of faith you're going to put in these drivers, of course. So you're looking at those 3 drivers at the moment, Core, Southfield, and Sharp. And approaching in these corners is very, very dangerous. Remember, these other drivers don't have to get out of the way. The GT4s just have to stay on their racing line and allow them through. And look at that. So that actually cost Millington this time around. So Cleveland's got the better end of the traffic situation at that point.
Yeah, so the gap's 1.1 seconds, so very close to that 1 second gap between the top 2 in the category, and then you can see the GT4 still. That battle hasn't changed. It's either Southfield leading Core and Sharp in third, or Core leading Southfield and Sharp in third. It's always the same story between the top 3, and then you can see Ryan Walker, he's now completely dropped back of the field, 4.2 seconds to the top 3. Andrew Pike sitting right with him in P5. We'll see if we get any battle evolving between that Mercedes and that Aston Martin. And you can see now that's Tom Davison back into the pit lane. So, yeah, that is his race over, at least fighting for some decent points. He will get 20 points if he stays out, of course, in P9. But it seems like he's going to probably have to... It depends on what fuel he goes. He might have to pit again.
Tom had another mistake. I'll show the replay in a little bit because I want to see how this pans out. Look who's in the background there. So there is Conchavo. Yeah, so Conchavo is going to be approaching them in a dangerous part of this track, of course, because this is, look at the track map. This is your twisty section, of course, where it comes. And he had a little bit of a lock up there. Now he's just find a way past this battle. And of course, this fantastic GT4 lead battle. I'll get that right at one point. And here he's going to set up the inside there. That's going to be bold and brave. And then caught in this traffic. Remember, he's 9 seconds to change down the road from Millington. Yeah. And now he's got to get on the power, and now he should be able to whiz past him.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Oh, no. Oh. That's like you see people weaving on the motorway, isn't it? And in a dangerous situation.
That was a very close one. If you can get an onboard of that'd be a replay that'd be great to see. But that was, that could have ended in tears for the 3 of them there. But great job from the 2 GT4s and the LMP3 heading down towards that turn 5 complex, and it's actually lost Kieran Sharp a bit of time. 9/10 of the gap now between him and the top 2, so we need to try and close that in ASAP. The top 2 of Nils and Southfield still fighting. Remember, back in round 1, these 2 were fighting the whole race long. So it's not rare to see these 2 at the front, and they've had experience at the front of the race every time they've appeared here.
That's what happened to Tom. Sorry, I can't actually get a replay of that one before because it doesn't show us replays over lapped cars, but that's down the hill, isn't it? And then and luckily not off in the flood-off area, wasn't it? Remember, I had that one year of the wet Formula 1 GP when it turned into a multi-million-dollar car park down the bottom of the hill there. Yeah,
it wasn't an ideal scenario at all, and Tom Davison not ideal for him.
But no major damage there, so I wonder why he's set the pit road. It still is.
But the thing is, when you're having these races and it's quite long, 40 minutes, if you make a mistake in the first 10, it kind of ruins your whole mojo for the race. You lose that motivation to do well, and you kind of end up just making more and more mistakes. I know that has happened to me many times when I've been racing, whether it's in GT3s or Formula 1. You make that one mistake, and then after that, everything just falls apart. You try and psychologically get yourself back into it, but you're pushing more and more. You want to cash back up. You want to, kind of try and undo your mistakes. And it ends in more and more tears because you push more and more. You push into, you sometimes do things that when you look at it with a clear mind, you think, why did I try braking 50 meters later than I should have done? You end up doing silly things which you don't realise because you're in that mindset of just pushing, and that's what happened to Tom Davidson. He's making those mistakes because he's trying to get himself back within that fight for the top 8, but it's over, and I think he's going to probably stay in the pits. I don't know if he'll go back out. You'd think he would for the points, but when you're a driver at that stage, you might as well just click off the game because we all do it. I think we've all been victims of that once in our lives.
Sim, it's not a game. Sorry. Yeah, I know what you mean. I wonder, we don't really do driver interviews here, but I was wondering if there was a way that we can probably pull in, say, Mr. Pitchler or something like that to have a quick yarn.
Would be nice. And there we are. Pablo's out. Big shame.
Yeah, so Pitchler's still in the car, I believe, or at least hanging in there. Lots of damages. I don't see him. He's actually still inside the car. No hands on the steering wheel, so he's out at the moment. Just letting the mechanics do the mechanic things. Patch it all up.
Indeed.
But I just wanted to, sometimes I always like to talk to drivers when we have a little bit of a breather. Not really a bit of a breather, because you got to look at Mr. Pike at the moment. He's been starting to draw in Mr. Walker as well, so that's panning out for the battle between P4 and P5 currently still. So we knew that the GT4s were going to be tight class all racing all along, as Mr. Sharp told us, and that has been proven to be. So 2 battles on there, a battle for P1 and a battle for P4.
And now we head into around 23 minutes. So we're nearly at that pit lane time where we'll see the drivers head into pits and get themselves some more fuel in the car. And, well, the pit entry here can be quite difficult, so we could see people making mistakes there. We could also see people making mistakes going into their pit boxes. And then we can see Southfield to the outside yet again trying to retake that lead from Niels Court. Brakes later. Can he get a good run round the outside at turn 1? He's got a good exit. But yet again, Niels Court covers him off. Great job in defence there from the Aston Martin. And still, Southfield hunting back for that P1 position. And further back, we can see Andrew Parker. He's gaining in on the back of Ryan Walker for P4. But yet again, I don't think he's close enough either to make an overtake. And you can see Bobby Moss just holding into them behind in towards turn 3.
And this is brewing up, isn't it?
Oh, it is indeed. Millington now right to the back of Nick Clibbons. A fight for P1 in the LMP3 category the first time we've seen this in this race apart from lap 1. And Millington's got some great pace on the back of Clibbons. They head out of turn 11 down towards turn 12. And we'll see if we can get an overtake here from Millington down to possibly towards that first corner. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Clibbons head into the pit lane shortly to pop himself in some more fuel. And big mistake from Clibbons, massive mistake, and that sends him off the circuit down at turn 13. Exit the chicane, puts Millington into the lead, and that is, well, we've seen multiple mistakes from Clibbons, and every time he's made a mistake, he's in the lead. And then yet again, that lead being overdone.
And this is the thing, Nathan, at this point too, he could have, if it just was a little bit early, he could have probably popped right into pit road there, taken a pit stop there, because that would have counteracted the loss of time. But unfortunately, it happened just too late, so he couldn't dive into pit road. And now he's going to have to catch it back up, because sometimes that, if you do it just before the pit entrance, you can make up that lost time because you're going to slow down anyway. It's not that bad. But at this situation, he didn't have enough time to do anything about it. He's still going to stay within, a nice slipstream, but we'll see how it goes. That just means now that Millington has the one that is has to be the one to make a call on whether he goes in first into pit road. I don't know. It's always difficult, isn't it, to be that one at the front there, because you know that the driver behind you can follow you in if they want. They want to stay up. This battle's still brewing up here. I think at the moment there, Pike's been on the back here for all of the race so far, and with 15 minutes to go, just over halfway, he's like, all right, maybe soon I'm going to make a move.
Yep, he needs to. But I think, with the amount of time that he's losing to the back of Kieran Sharp, you can see that gap there between Kieran and Ryan's 7 seconds. He needs to try and get through ASAP. We know the Mercedes, at least from what I've seen, is a quick car around this track. It's a great car for this track. So you'd be expecting the likes of Andrew Pod to try and get through as quick as he can on Ryan Walker, pod himself into top 4, and if you can, try and just bring that gap to the top 3 a little bit closer. And this is Kunshabo at the chicane.
Yes. Literally,
that is identical to Nick Clibbons. Yeah. At the exit of the chicane, losing the rear, hands himself back up behind that safety car of Matt Smith. And
we call it safety car, but hey, he's got the livery, so we can't do too much about that, can we?
Yeah, I think the issue is for those with mistakes, like, look at that now, Clibbons has lost his mojo. He's a second back from Millington. I think that move for Millington was going to be on at some point, but he's now dropped back to just under a second now to the car 86. But that could be his race done now for the lead. This championship is close, and 5 points between first and second for the point system. That can mean a lot in the championship. Obviously, note at the moment in the LMP3 category that Gergely Kunshebo's leading. He's currently sitting in P3. Meaning if Nick Clibbons finished first, he would retake the lead of the championship. Millington's a little bit too far off. He's only on 36 points because of a DNF last round. But Nick Clibbons, if he does win, he's good enough to take the lead. If he doesn't win, he's still going to be stuck behind in the championship going into the follow. And this is Jack Southfield looking for a move in towards This next corner, actually, he's made a mistake somewhere, hasn't he? He's now 2 seconds back, and Kieran Sharp's also nearly 2 seconds back. Oh, and into the pit lane, I believe they're allowed to cut that. I believe they're allowed to cut that, aren't they? Hello?
Sorry? I
said well, I kept hearing the bleeping noise in your microphone.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was pushing the wrong button there. To make Sharp's gone in, yes.
Oh, yeah, and so they're allowed to cut the pit entry, aren't they? Otherwise, someone's made a very big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume they're not, but it might be different to know when I did my race. You had to follow the pit entry line in, but I think this case you could see just completely hopped over it. So hopefully he's allowed to that, and he doesn't end up incurring himself a penalty. He's going to head out the pits now, just coming out the pit exits, and you can see now that gap between Court and Southfield 2 seconds. So it must have been a big mistake from Southfield on that previous lap. Along with Kieran Sharp, losing a lot of time. They lost over 1.5 seconds to Neil's Court within that first part of the lap. I didn't see that as we was following the LMP3 battle at the front with Nick Clements and Josh Millington. As we head in towards turn 4, and this is Andrew Pike on the back of Ryan Walker still. The battle, well, it's now for P3, but it will probably be back to P4. And Clemens, second place runner in the LMP3 category, into the pits. Going to be getting himself some more fuel in the vehicle, and that is a bit of a mistake there from Ryan Walker, heading towards the hairpin. So Kunshabo now claims P2. And if Kunshabo does finish ahead of Nick Clemens, that would be great for him in this race. It would really help him in this championship. It would bring that gap around, I think, 7 points between first and second, instead of it being what it is now at 4. So yeah, this is a great opportunity for Kunshabo to try and bring that standings, bring that gap closer in the standings.
I wanted to ask you about, you saying about whether cutting the pit lane entrances, Kieran Sharp going in earlier. What was the reference to that? Hits the brakes, bang, gets that no problems. What was you asking about?
On the entry of the pits, on the exit of the chicane.
Right.
He completely bounced over. I don't know if we'll have a replay. We're on board now, as Thomas might go to the pits, on board now with Andrew Pike. And yeah, there we are. So I was thinking if there was allowed to jump that, but they are, yeah. So Core, Southfield,
Pike. Go in? Yep. They're all going in. Oh, they're running to the back. Now at this point, when you go to pit road in iRacing cars, you're not going to run into each other.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about coming down straight down here, Bart, as well, is that you kind of you're going to be ghosting straight through these cars to hit your lollipop man or woman. Bingo. Oh, he had to back up too. See? That's the only problem, I think, of going in like behind through cars, is that it's very hard to see a lollipop person.
So Kieran Sharp heading down towards that first corner. Can he take the lead? Yes, he can. I think just about getting it over them. No, he hasn't. He should come out just behind, but he has got a bit more warmer tyres now. He's warming them up after his pit stop. He goes round the outside, tries to make a move on Core, gets sent a little bit wide, has to have the inside at turn 2. Can he get the move there on the Aston Martin? Yes, he can, to the inside. Kieran Sharp into that top 2, but you can see Core's going to try and hold it round the outside at turn 3. This battle could evolve and evolve and evolve between these two. They go through towards turn 4 now, and I think Nils Core will send it back up the inside on Kieran Sharp. He doesn't get the move yet again, back into P2 now for Mr. Nils Court, and he has got himself comfortably ahead now of Sharp, who's got a 1.4 second gap now to Southfield. That is awesome to remember. Earlier on, Southfield was 2 seconds back from Nils Court. He's now 1.4 seconds ahead. Over these past 2 laps, he's gained 3.5 seconds. Perfect, isn't it? Way to execute your pit stops in and out with the 9 minutes down. The sprint race to the end. So this is going to be up to Mr. Kieran Sharp to try to do something about Niels Court. You know that Niels Court's going to be in this the whole time. Now, Millington's still out. He has to make a pit stop soon. We have to put these banker laps in like crazy because Nick is down the road there by 3 seconds. In fact, they made their pit stops. They're in and out. I'm already on top of that one. So Millington has made that pay off big time. Although he has a bit of traffic he'll deal with. Shouldn't be no problems there. But how much of a huge gap did he get on Nick Clevens, didn't it, I guess? There's a bit of a flash in the background. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why there's that driver's flashing. And I've got to say, Kieran Sharp, he's done a superb job this season so far. So he took P3 in round 1, P2 in round 2, was looking for a P3 in round 3, but got a bit of a collision with, I believe it was Southfield on that occasion, so he unfortunately finished P9. Did take that as a drop result, so it doesn't count. He's on for P3 again. He's done a really consistent run. We've never seen him at the lead, really. I think we've seen him in the lead once, which was back in round 2 at Fuji. But apart from that, he's never been really fighting for the lead. So he's done a great job, I think, this season. I think he's someone that should be quite praised upon, and I don't think he's got enough, because we haven't seen him really at the lead of the race at the front. He hasn't really got the praise he deserves. So, you know, he's currently P4 in the standings behind Tom Davidson. He'll move ahead of Tom Davidson now as Tom Davidson's out. And if he wants to finish now, if he wants to go into second in the championship, he needs Safewell to drop down to about P7. So it's most likely not going to happen, but he will take P3 in the standings as long as he finishes the race. So, you know, he's going to make this hard work pay off. We've got the likes of further down, like Andrew Pike is currently sitting 12 in the standings. If he can get this P6 or P5, which he should be fighting for realistically, he can move himself up into that top 10. Bobby Moss as well, he's on for a P5. He's also in a good position to move himself ahead of lots of Liam Giles, Hamling, Walker in the standings. So, you know, lots of drivers are going to make many good, valuable moves.
Sorry, yeah, you were absolutely right. Southfield's dropped a little bit of time here. I'm not seeing any off track, but look at that. Yeah, Hills. Don't see any traffic nearby. No race control messages about off track. Just a little error somewhere, but it's Mr. Pike on Mr. Moss, as you mentioned there. So that's 2. Nothing too much happening up the business end of the LMP3s. Again, but you never know. One little mistake going off track, and we've seen it, haven't we, from Clibbins before, that perhaps has cost him the race win, although I think it must have been a pit stop situation. Yes, it was actually, because I'm looking at the pit stops of Clibbins being 11.3 stationary stop, 8.9 seconds for Millington. And remember, he lost about a second on that going off track as well too, so that's just a double whammy there. It probably has cost Nick the race win. But we still have 6 minutes to go, and it is possible to make mistakes. See them do it, so all you got to do is focus and get to the end. Especially they're applying pressure on each other, my friend. They're not lifting at the moment too much. They're still doing well. Millington did a 2:17 the last lap, 150 for Clevens. Oh, that's good. Oh, 149 now. I mean, he just got the fastest lap, Millington. So that's probably including the pit stop exit from the last lap, the out lap.
Yeah, indeed. And I've just had a little look at the point system just to clarify. If the race finishes like this, Kunshema would be 1 point ahead of Clibbins going into round 5.
Oh, and
so we've got a real championship fight.
And speaking of Millington coming through here right now, just breaking him up again for the second time around as they're re-lapping. Well, they're starting to lap this group here.
Bobby Moss, isn't it? I think that's
it's Bobby Moss.
All the random little logos.
Yes. And they're going to be catching this battle brewing up here soon.
Yep, they are. Kieran Sharp, you can see now hunting down still on Nils Core. The gap's 3 tenths as they head in towards the hairpin.
So where's Millington?
And of course,
they're there. So they've cleared that other
so
pack.
They're getting in. Yeah. They've got Ryan Walker there just ahead. He's 10 seconds back from that lead train. So he's going to be just hoping now for that P4 position in this race. But if these top 3 battle, that will bring Millington in more and more and more. And also, Clibbins is only 1.8 seconds back. So he's also in a decent position. Depending where Millington gets caught up in this traffic, can help Nick Clibbins get himself a bit closer to the front of that train. You can see that gap 1.7 seconds, so it is coming down between Clibbins and Millington. We've got 5 minutes left to go in this race, and yet again, Biggles, these races, they absolutely fly by.
They absolutely do, and it's going to be fun, because now we've got these 3 going for tooth and nail. Any one of these GT4s can win this race at the moment, Southfield, Court, or Sharp. And, on top of it, Millington or Clibbins. Clibbins could still take this one. Look how close they are on the final corner here. Getting into the final few laps of this race, if anything, 4 minutes and change. Where are the GT there? You can see on the track map at the moment, the GT3s are going to, LMP3 is going to approach them at a massive pace rate. You can see they're going to just be in the background now. And if anything, they're going to catch them through the twisty Sector 2, Sector 3 sections here. So this is Clibbins' final chance, I'd have to say, to shave that 1 point something seconds to change. See in the background now. So this is going to get spicy and dicey, because you know that for a fact Selfield's not going to want to yield anything at all here.
Indeed, that's...
and Core.
You can see Shah looking for a move, isn't he, to get himself ahead of Nils Core. But a little too far back.
How's Millington now? Let's go on board. Let's have a look. He's going to approach this, and he has to be with his engineer or whatever, 3 minutes or so and change to go, a couple of laps. How do we get past them? And where? Where to get past them? They're going to be the biggest problem as it possibly can.
Look,
and there, he's going to get on the exit. Gets on the exit. There's Clibbins. Clibbins, watch it from the background of Clibbins. Now, can Clibbins approach him? He's going to be approaching him into the corner here, but he should be able to get down inside here.
No, backs
No,
off.
he had to back off. That's going to compromise him. Oh, big time.
Really has compromised, hasn't it? 1.3, 1.4 seconds as he head up towards the Schumacher S's. And do we see him move? No.
Oh, he's tucked in behind.
He's still stuck behind. He's still behind.
That just dropped about half a second.
Oh, that was Nils Cole going a little bit wide, wasn't it?
Yep.
Heading out, and that's put the gap down to between. Oh, Nils Cole's dropped down to P3, so we must have made a mistake. He has made a mistake as they head down now in towards the chicane, in towards turns 10 and 11. Sorry, Kieran Sharp in the top 2. Finished second last race in round 3, looking to take 2 P2s in a row, and actually it's a bit of contact as they head through. Yep. Kieran Sharp, does he have a bit of a bump there with the Aston Martin? No, they don't. They make it. This is into turn 2. I think this is a little bit too early, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's gonna continue all the way around here for a little bit. That's the thing. Comes back, and then I believe there's more contact that occurs a little bit further here. We'll see if we get the chopper cam to show that one.
Into turn 5, you can see Kieran just looking to make a move through a little bit too far back for now. Actually, he goes a little bit wide, touches the grass on the entry.
I think it's around about here. We are a little early because there's some great battling going on. Of course, we might have to go back and look at that in a little bit. Has to be this turn, doesn't it? I mean,
it was on the exit, I think. I think it was at the Schumacher S he made that mistake. Because he was behind going into here, wasn't he? He must have been up at the Schumacher S where he went a little bit wide.
Oh, wouldn't compromise too much exit speed on that one.
Here, he dipped his foot into the gravel. And if it wasn't here, then it must be.
It's here, actually.
No,
probably.
That's a different lap, yeah. Replay again. And this is where he actually slowed down, didn't he?
Yeah. I wonder if he had a slowdown.
Could be. Yeah. Could have done, yeah. That's definitely something that's possible. Definitely something that's not ideal, of course, as now you can see.
This is it now.
Sharp looking for the lead. He's trying to get himself ahead of Jack Surfield, looking for his first victory this season. Finished third.
He's probably going for it now.
He's up inside of Bobby Moss in towards turn 5. Bit of contact nearly in. This gives Moss the inside line here at turn 6. Then we could see a bit of a switcheroo possibly from the Mercedes. They head down towards turn 7. You can see now Andrew Pike right on his rear as they head in towards this next corner. It's up the outside line for Pike. And no, Bobby Moss doesn't need to defend because he's going to be part of the inside line. Bobby Moss moves back over to the inside line. Great defence from the Aston Martin, but great exit from Pike as they exit turn 7, up towards the Schumacher S's. It'll be Bobby Moss back up the inside, and I think Pike has just got that move covered.
Wow. And he got it done at the right time. But what about this at the business end here of the GT4s? Because I don't think Clemens is going to be able to do anything right now about Millington. Millington's going to probably have this because they're pretty close on the last lap right now. Where are they? Yes, they've started onto the last lap, and this is it.
Yeah, Kieran Sharp trying to send Southfield defensive as they head out the final corner, back down towards turn 1. Nils Core getting involved. This is probably the last lap of this race. We'll see Barney shortly with that white flag, but Nils Core's got a great exit as well as they head down towards turn 1. Could we see this battle evolve between P1, 2 and 3? Down towards turn 1 they go again. And there you can see Core's got a great run on the back of the Porsche. In towards turn 1, you can see Sharp moves to the inside line, tries to cover off the Aston Martin, who then gets blocked off by Southfield in towards turn 1. Southfield being taken out by the Porsche as they head out in a really poor exit from Nils Core, losing a couple of tenths of time out of that first corner. They head through turns 2 and 3 into this bit of a slow hairpin corner. And this is going to be the best battle, I think, of them all between these top 2. And I believe, is this white flag condition?
Yes, it should be, actually. I would imagine it would be, actually, yeah, for sure. So look where the race leader is at the moment for the LMP 3s there. So he's got still quite a bit to go. So if anything, Mr. Sharp wants to get it done, he has to get it done now. And he has to be very, very careful because Niels is in the background there. He wants it. Niels is like, okay, you know, you guys make a mistake, please. I will happy to take P1. So,
Kieran has to make a move at the inside if he can. He's going to have to lunge to the inside, but he can't. He sits back for now. He doesn't want to make the move there and towards turn 7. We'll look for a different opportunity. So they head out now, out to turn 7, down in towards the Schumacher race yet again. Great exit from the 3 of them, but no one can really make an advantage work. 2 tenths between P1 and 2, 2 tenths between P2 and 3. But Nils Core's got a better exit than Kieran Sharp. Kieran has to go to the inside line to defend. That now gives a great run for Nils around the outside. It is checkered flag as we head through out to turn 10. And this will be Josh Millington here to take the victory for the LMP3 category. Nick Clemens comes home in P2. And if we can switch back to the GT4 battle as we can. And you can see Nils Core's got a great run on the back of Kieran Sharp as they head through in towards turn 12 again. And I don't think we'll see any moves from any of them as they come through to take the checkered flag shortly. Kunshema comes home in P3 for the MP3 category. And now, Nils Corr needs to get a great exit out of this chicane. He does get a great exit. He goes a little bit wide. Can he make a move around the outside? No, he can't. He has to sit back.
Yeah.
And they will come through. And it will be Jack Searfield to take his second victory here for the GT4 category. But Nils Corr will go to line with Kieran Sharp, who will be P2. It's 23 thousandths of a second.
Wow.
Kieran Sharp does get that second place ahead of Nils Corr. And you cannot get closer than that. Great action between second and third. Kieran Sharp and Nils Corr. Bravo. Take a pat on the back for both of you. Absolutely great action towards the line. The top three, less than a second. Actually, I think the top three is separated by just over 0.8 of a second.
I was just wondering if we could actually have a look at that last.
This is a replay into turn 10. Nils Corr trying to go around the outside, couldn't make a move. Kieran Sharp gains, but actually Nils Corr goes a little bit off track there. You can see, goes for a bit of a lunge up the inside, had to back out, but he does keep his foot in there. Kieran Sharp let him to have enough room as they head out of turn 11 through this right-hander at turn 12. This really means nothing so far. They're heading towards a chicane. You can see Kieran Sharp actually going defensive. That's probably what's costing him time on the exit, but he moves back up to the racing line. Into the chicane he goes. Hops the curbs.
Bottom corner.
And you can see Nils. Great exit, using all that curb, using all the track he can.
But it compromises his exit speed, doesn't it? Look, and then it allows Nils to get on the power and they get ass. Look at that. That's a photo finish almost, as you said. Oh, even contact.
Ooh, bit of a tap.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, we know that Porsche is a little bit slow on that straight line. That's why Nils got such a great run. But yeah, 23 thousandths between second and third, and that will. We'll have a look at the standings on my end quickly. That does put Southfield into the lead of the championship. He pops into P1, but we can see the results first of all. So Josh Willington takes victory for the LMP3 category, 2 seconds ahead of Nick Clibbons, who comes home second. He will be 1 point behind Kunshabo heading into round 5. And you can see his Kunshabo finished third. Thomas Martin fourth, and unfortunately Pitchler doesn't score points. He finished P5 then for the GT4 category. We can see that the victory was for Jack Sailfield there, just ahead of Kieran Sharp. And then 23 thousandths back is Nils Corr in third. Then we have Ryan Walker, Andrew Pike, Bobby Moss, David Long, Matt Smith and Tom Davidson. I believe Tom did retire earlier on, so that's going to be no points for him. So he will drop down heavily in the championship. So for the GT4s, it'll be Jack Sailfield leading Nils Corr, leading Kieran Sharp. In the top three, the stands originally it was Nils, Jack, Tom. So it was completely changed in that category. And you can see the final results of both categories put together in the LMP3s. We know that it will be Gerli Kunstabo a point ahead of Nick Clibbons heading into round number 5, which we go to Road America. So our third visit to America, our three of 3 visits. A little bit like we've seen in the F1 calendar. Let's hope it isn't like what we've seen in Las Vegas for our final America visit, because that has been an absolute shambles.
I just want to see for a second about the pit stop of Nick. I just wanted to see like what compromised his chance there. Why he was in there for a lot stationary, if he actually missed it or not. But I can't really see anything about it.
Fuel, more fuel maybe?
More fuel. Must have been something like that, because it was that stop cost him about 3 or so seconds, and considering how close he got to Millington at the end. That's probably, and plus that tiny little mistake is what made the difference. But it is what it is, and it's called the motor race, and that's what it has been. And it's been Nürburgring. It's been round 4, hasn't it? There.
It has, yeah. It's been a great one. I've really enjoyed this race. Probably the race I've enjoyed the most because they've been battling all the way through, especially with the GT4s. So yeah, again, we want to say thank you to you all for joining us here for this JPB broadcast on the TSRC channel, of course. So make sure to like and subscribe here. And also go subscribe at the GPB channel as well. Of course, that is greatly appreciated. Thank you to everyone in the chat who joins us as usual. All the familiar faces, you know exactly who you are. So we'll be back next week for round 5 at Road America, where we get closer to the end of this season. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you again next time. Good night.